Oh, that's better.
Getting old, Mario.
Huh?
Getting old.
Yeah, that medicine I take makes my skin pretty thin.
We're good? All right. Good morning, everyone. Today's date is August the 7th. It's 9:30 a.m. We're here this morning for our work session. And so if everyone would look at their agenda, the first item on our agenda this morning is the auditor report.
Good morning.
Morning.
The only thing I have is I'll have, and I'll have another one, I'm getting it ready right now, but I'll have some budget amendments, and they're gonna be to recognize revenue and expense.
Okay. Any questions on the auditor? All right, next item is treasurer report.
Judge, I don't have anything today.
Okay. I received a call this morning from Jim Tyree, and these items we'll take up on Monday. He had a CPS hearing this morning, so he couldn't be here, but he did say that he would have these items and we would discuss them on Monday. Okay. All right. The next item is Commissioner of Precinct 3, and he's going to talk to us about the courthouse parking lot.
Yes, if you'll remember, last year we started repairing our courthouse parking lot. It was in pretty bad shape, and our goal was at the time was to do part of it last year and complete the rest of it this year. We did the big part of it last year, and we're looking now to finish that job. And I have a proposal from Concrete Connections. They're the same people that did the job last year. Let me find my paper here.
Now, Kenny, just so before you read that, remember if it's in excess of $50,000.
It's not.
Okay. All right.
No, it's not.
Okay. Well, before you read the proposal,
I appreciate it.
Okay.
I appreciate it. No, it's well under.
Okay.
The proposal is to remove and replace approximately 6,570 square foot concrete parking lot. The concrete will be 3,000 pound concrete, 5 inches thick. It'll be with 3-inch rebar, number three rebar on 12-inch centers. They did a good, I thought they did a good job on what they did before, so we'll be looking to whether or not to accept this proposal.
Okay. And I'm sorry I didn't bring it up before you got the proposal, but one of the things I thought we might ask them to consider, you know how there's a curb in between, you know, like where Latrice and them park?
It'll be gone.
Okay. I was gonna ask if they could just do the whole parking lot in a smooth surface.
Yes, we talked about that, and he's gonna redo that. That won't be there anymore.
Okay, well, good.
It's right in the way,
It is.
trip people up.
All
But
right.
he'll rearrange that in a different configuration. We won't have to have that anymore.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you getting with him and getting the proposals. Any questions of Kenny or that proposal? All right, if not, then Commissioner of Precinct 4.
All right, I got a application to cross the county road from Andrew Francis. County Road 70 and County Road C. You have to get some water over to another place where it's cotton. I'll let him go ahead and do it, but I'm not.
Okay.
And then next is the auction results of the recent auction.
All right, any questions of Jimmy on those two items? All right, if not, then our last item on our agenda this morning is Absolute Power and Claim, which I'm assuming are not, okay? And so they're going to talk to us about commercial cleaning services. They got referred to us from the sheriff's office, I believe. Is that true? Did y'all go out to the sheriff's office and talk to them and then they
Yes.
sent you up here?
Yes,
Okay.
it's
All
up
right.
here.
Then y'all just tell us what y'all do, and what you'd like to do. And what happens is, we discuss things this morning, they may have questions for you.
Absolutely.
And then Monday, we don't take any action today. And then on Monday, we'll vote,
Okay.
okay?
I have a scope of practice, and I apologize for only bringing one, and I don't know what I was thinking. So I'm gonna leave that for you, but we could also send you guys digital copies if I get an email list at the end of the meeting so that you guys can all see it, but there's that.
Okay.
So my name is Prisma, I'm with Absolute Power and Clean. I am the owner, and this is my partner Alfredo Lamelli, and he's also the owner. Before we talk about disinfection and sanitizing, what's really important is you know why I do it. We've been handling disease prevention for 5 years. This is why we started. Our motto is cleaner, healthier living. Do you guys remember the Ebola epidemic about 5 years ago that got really close to Dallas? Alfredo and I are surgical technicians. We're surgical technicians. We are, because I'm still there part-time in the operating room. That is where we met. So during that time, we were STs in the operating room, and we saw what was going on with the Ebola epidemic. The reason why we started Absolute is because seeing that and seeing how close that we got to an epidemic, not ever thinking that we would be here today, right? There was a light bulb. There was okay, so we know what hospital cleaning standards are, because that's a really big part of our role as STs in the operating room. We handle the before, the during, and the aftercare of an operating room, right? So we said, what's the general public, as far as health standards, cleaning standards, what is general public doing? What are they doing? We started asking ourselves, what are restaurants doing as far as taking care of in the operating room every day? After all operations are completed, there is a protocol that's called a TC, a total clean. That's a top to bottom, inside and out, total clean of that operating room. So all equipment, floors, like I said, top to bottom, inside and out. We wanted to know, what are the standards in the general public?
Indoor playlands, restrooms, different things like that.
Exactly. Okay, so before we even did that, let's say, we'll start testing. We started testing. Maybe, there isn't like a standard, because we're researching, maybe there isn't an actual standard because pathogens aren't dwelling in restrooms, in playgrounds, in dining rooms. We were wrong. We were very wrong. Actually, we started finding that there was more pathogen counts in a restroom, in a dining room area, in an office, in a playground, than there was in the dirtiest part of a hospital, the biohazardous waste. Okay, so then that's what are we doing? I started going to places. I started asking restaurants, just random businesses that I know are high traffic. What are you doing? What is it that you're doing when we talk about hygienic protocols? Well, we have a company that comes and does our restrooms. Okay, what do? Well, they just they sanitize. They sanitize what? Well, the sink and the commode. And that's it? Yes, that's it. Okay, so we put a program together. We put a program together. Restrooms, top to bottom, inside and out. We started, I want to say, we've done a lot of damage control when it comes to this industry, because when we came in it, I don't want to, not that it was dishonest, but it was, the faster a janitorial company got in, the faster they come out, the more money they would make. And it just wasn't working. It was working for them, but as far as why I started Absolute, how can you sanitize an area and then leave everything else? Because we know then it's not properly sanitized, right? We put our protocols together, are what we call commercial hygienics. Deep cleaning, the cleaning of surfaces, restoring them to their natural state. After that, then we put in actual disease prevention. We put that together. Disease prevention is sanitize an area properly, being able to test areas to see where our pathogen counts are, and then verifying after services. ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So that is what we test on areas. If you want to get me so I can show them. All humans, jellyfish, plants, bacteria, we use ATP, adenosine triphosphate, for energy at the molecular level. When we swab surfaces, it picks up ATP energy. So we're able to see what, it quantifies the number of ATP on that area. So we go in and we start putting a program together for you guys. Testing surfaces, high frequency touch points, what your hands come in most contact with in a room. And in this room, whether it's a restroom, it's a dining room. And we start, like I said, putting together where your ATP counts are, what they were before services started, and we're able to show our customers that putting together a hygienic protocol makes a difference. It makes a difference. Like I said, we've been fighting this for 5 years. I cold call for all my sales. I go in and I don't go in and say, look, I want to sell you these services. I go in and I talk to them and tell them what we do, because that's the most important. Because I started this to make a difference. Like I said, 5 years ago, we would get a lot of laughing in our faces and go, yeah, no, disease prevention, yeah, no, we don't need that. Now I'm so happy for the awareness that it has brought. Of course, I'm ready for it to be over, with. I don't know if we'll ever go back to normal, but as far as the awareness, I'm really happy. But when it comes to telling people about our company, it is really important that you guys know that this is our work. This is our purpose. Is we left our operating rooms, and long story, try to shorten it. In September pre-pandemic, I went back to the operating room because everything was coasting really well with Absolute. I always wanted to go back to see, I missed it. I would see my colleagues in September, right before everything hit. I went back as part-time. They were willing to work with me, and I haven't been able to leave ever since. We have 2 people on our team, and just right now with healthcare, it's been crazy. So I am there part-time. But like I said, this is what we do to make a difference. My prices are very affordable. Nothing has changed when it comes to our prices, to our protocols. The only thing that has changed on our behalf that we have put into our methods is parts per million on disinfectant. And that's because we need to kill SARS-CoV-2 on that surface. But like I said, I think that is the most important for you to know, that how we run our company, what we do, and our background. Because like I said, it's our purpose. This is our life's work to change the standard. I've always told my customers, I want to change the standard of the janitorial industry. We cannot sit here and just rely on chemicals to do the job that we should be doing when it comes to actually cleaning. We need to adapt an actual cleaning protocol before we even talk about letting a disinfectant, a sanitizer work, because it's never going to. If we don't actually adopt a protocol, then it's not going to work. So, a little bit about us. Any questions? I know that's a lot. And if you can't understand me, I'm sorry. I'm trying my hardest with this math.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Any questions, or?
Would you guys be interested in like an quick demo to see how all services are treated?
Yeah, that'd be
You
fine.
want to see where your
Wanna do
packaging
the
comes?
doorknob?
Let's do the doorknob.
Judge, as far as, it's free service, you gonna charge us or what? So
So,
what's the cost?
right, so we need to get your square footage, and that's what we were going to establish today, is get square footage. We're going to get kind of like what you guys are interested in. I'm going to talk to you, like I said, tell you about like our services that we provide. The thing is, I've never worked with any contract from the beginning. That's another. I've always wanted my quality of work to stay here and my customer service. And so that meant not ever binding a customer into a contract, because as soon as, once again, going into the janitorial industry 5 years ago, there was a lot of things that we would run into, like, oh yeah, you're going to put us on contract and you're going to do really good work for a month and a half, 3 months, and then you're just going to fall off like everybody else does. I just didn't want to run into that. So like I said from the get-go, we work from a month-to-month basis. When it comes to price breaks, I'm going to give you a one-time service if you want to see what it would look like. And then I'm going to go into a monthly service, and you're going to get a price break. And that's how we go. We go into just month to month, putting you on schedule if you want to be on schedule. But as far as any type of contract, we've never worked with them.
Okay, now, as far as the square footage, when we get through here today, you can see, Rocio in my office.
Okay.
Because we just did a square footage deal a couple months ago for another company.
Okay.
And so she has that information.
Perfect. So then we
And
could leave
so
all that with you
then
today.
if y'all can, hopefully, if you can look at that and maybe get us a quote by Monday, then we can decide on something.
Not to worry, all that little spiral book that I gave you,
Yeah,
we'll write down that, I'll get you a price today.
okay.
That breakdown if we have that square footage for today.
Now I have a question, when you do a claim, how long does it, I mean, I know when you come in and clean, then it's good, but how often should you have a cleaning done?
Okay, so we're gonna talk about, because now there's a lot of, you said you've had somebody out here already, get you information on disinfecting. Antimicrobial protection is a big thing right now. There's a lot of companies that are coming out and telling customers, you're gonna be protected for 90 days. You have a shield. I've tested this shield for many years. Now, is it incorporated in our services? Yes. But do I think that it's a good idea to tell a customer that they're gonna be protected for 90 days during a pandemic? No. Especially on high frequency touch points. My services have always been based off of, we get the lowest pathogen counts if we keep you on an actual scheduled services, more frequent monthly service. That's when we know you get the most protection. A month is really good. And the reason why is because we're not just, and I'm sorry that you guys weren't able to see all of that, we're not just coming in and spraying and relying on a disinfectant sanitizer to do all the job. Because A, sanitizers and disinfectants do not break down bioburden. They do not break down grime. They do not break down dirt. If we just come in here and spray a shield and disinfectant on there, it's not going to do anything. The thing is, what keeps pathogens from dwelling on a surface is if you actually clean it properly. Clean it before you even think about disinfecting and sanitizing. And those are our protocols. Anything that we do, whether it's high frequency touch points, flat surfaces, restrooms, we get in and actually clean first before we disinfect. Now, I am comfortable to say that 30 days right now, that gives you what it's shown us on our data is it does. It keeps pathogen counts really, really low because they're not able to dwell because there's no bioburden on there. There's nothing that's helping them cling on there right? Okay, so yes, I hope that answered your question.
Okay, yeah.
So that first one was,
Okay,
so the first test is 100.
so the first 146 RLU, and that's a failure. I use the strictest threshold when it comes to ATP count monitoring. I'm sorry, because once again, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I'm not going to try to be lax with my thresholds because we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're trying to get the lowest count, and so that means having the strictest threshold whenever it's testing our areas. 146. Now that's not gross contamination, but there's obviously pathogens living there. This was probably cleaned yesterday, maybe this morning.
You probably, yes.
Do we know?
Yes, or last night.
Last night, right? Okay, so our goal is to always keep it under 50, and that's what we're seeing is that after cleaning verification, which is after services, our technicians are able to get zeros a lot of the time on our surfaces, and that is because of all the steps that we provide. Now, it takes us longer to get there. We have more steps, but like at the end of the day, like I said, I know we're doing this because we're trying to get the least amount of pathogens. It's not just coming in here and spraying. it takes more work, but at the end, this is why we do this. So that's why.
Retest it.
And then so he's gonna retest it. And all of this we provide to you guys in data analysis. So you guys will get reports every time our technicians come, whether it's monthly or bi-monthly. But you guys will be able to see your befores and then your afters, and then after a while, like I said, of being on a frequent basis, you're able to see your pathogen counts, which, like I said, that's one thing that I'm really the most proud of, is the fact that all our customers that we have started have never been on the same pathogen count that was tested the first time of services.
Good thing about this, it only takes 10 seconds to get the results.
So it's 9, 8, 7.
So the first thing, everything will get treated the same way. So we'll go down and wipe everything down.
The cleaning process.
And then we'll come back with the electrostatic, spray everything down. And we also have like an air sanitizer. So with the backpack, it will sanitize the air.
Okay.
Yes, and you'll be able to see that a step by step on our scope of practice tells you everything that we do for that surface. Okay, so awesome. You passed out of 4 RLU. So that is 3 RLUs close from 0, which is clean sterility. If you look at other companies and you want to ask if they're testing, and you want to ask what's their threshold, like I said, I mean, that's another thing that I'm most proud about is I know that we're using the strictest threshold. We're trying to get the lowest counts, and if that's more work, we're okay with that because nothing has changed on our part as far as treating these surfaces.
Okay.
So.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank y'all for being here today. Rocio,
Thank you so
looking in
much.
the
It
door,
was an
so-
honor.
But that's who you need to see for the square footage.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm joking, no.
Hey,
Oh, okay.
But I do have this for you.
The square footage?
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, we can definitely work on that. And then I'll get you one by the time we leave. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am. All right.
All right.
Thank
Well,
y'all
thank
for
you
being
so
here.
much for your time. I appreciate you guys.
All right, that concludes our agenda for this morning, but let's go ahead and look at Mondays. Melinda's told us what she's gonna have. Ida, do you have anything?
No. No, sir.
Okay. I'll have the Health Center EMS run and financial report. We have Latrice come earlier this week and talk to me about concerns. Well, Latrice, I'll let you just stand up and tell them about the early voting.
I've been kind of mulling over about this election and how crazy I think it's going to be. And I don't know if you guys know, but they've extended early voting for a week. It's going to start October the 13th, which is on a Tuesday. So it'll be for 3 weeks. But my concern was downstairs. Y'all said you come before, and with social distancing and everything else that goes on here at the courthouse, I was just concerned about the lines and about trying to get people in and out with trying to keep our distance. So I went and visited with the judge. I was just trying to think of, other places that we could hold early voting without too much people are used to coming here. So we went and looked over here at Juvenile Probation Office on the first floor. They're willing to let us have it there. They're going to clean out really probably 3 offices that we could, in one room, sign people in and then kind of send them through a path and then voting in another room, and maybe where they come in this north entrance and leave out through the south entrance. And then we were talking about I don't know if the parking lot will be done by then, but we were talking, the thing about that building is it isn't ADA. So we were talking about maybe getting some ramps. We were gonna check into getting some metal ramps to put at each end. And also making maybe the south entrance, putting up some handicapped, parking places there, that people could come in that door that are disabled, or we could do curbside. So, I wanted to see what you guys thought about it. If y'all thought that would be a good option. I mean, I thought about other places, the Ollie Bonner Center, something like that, but too, and it would be more room, but he's got stuff scheduled out there. And people are creatures of habit, they're just used to, they're gonna come here because that's where they know to come.
You said there's stuff that's already scheduled during these dates at the Atlanta
Uh-huh,
Center?
yeah,
The biggest thing is the arts and crafts shop,
right,
because that is in past years, that's a big event. I mean, and Latrice is telling me with the early voting, you really can't have other events occurring with early voting. So, and you know, it's so far in advance. I mean, you really hate to have to cancel something like that, you know, 3 months out. Because, I mean, I don't know where it'll be in 3 months, no one does, but, you know,
and I feel like I need to make a decision sooner than later of where we're gonna do it, just because I've got, like, for instance, the order of the election that, you know, you guys are gonna approve the judge to sign,
the best thing
and my
about-
notices and stuff like that.
Another good thing about being over here is it's close to Latrice and them's office.
Right.
You know, where if you do it out at Ollie Liner and there's issues, then you know,
We're running back
there's a
and forth.
lag, you know,
Right.
where this deal, they're right there.
We felt like over here, we went back over there yesterday to look at it, that maybe we could, you know, keep people, I mean, we might have a line out the door, I don't know, and keeping them 6 feet apart, but where we could at least keep the hallway at least clear, like, kind of keep them across the hall until they can go and across into the other room to go vote, and then out the other door where they're not passing each other in the hallway. Because that's the issue down there, is when we start getting a line, I don't have anywhere to put them. And then if, you know, people are coming in to come to any of our offices here in the courtroom, then you've got that. And I just think it's, you know, I think it's gonna be a heavy election.
You know, ideally, the third floor would be a great place, but then we're at the mercy of the elevator. You know, if the elevator's working, everything's fine, but
Right.
if
But
for
what
some
if-
reason the elevator doesn't operate, and then we have issues. So, anyway, that's what we thought. Y'all think about it over the
Yeah,
weekend. If
I'm
you-
open to, what, I mean, you know, any suggestions, that's why.
What other options are there besides that? There's really,
It's really not. And I'm like Judge, I can advertise, I mean, people are used to coming here. I can put it in the paper. I mean, I don't have a lot of places to put it out there. They're gonna come here. And then they're gonna be
Well, one of the things we
You know,
talked about is
just
using,
saying.
maybe asking the city and the school district to use that notification system they have, you know, where they call people and tell them that, you know, early voting's occurring these dates, and this year it will be in the annex building, and let them know before, because, you know, like I said, we can put it on the website and things like that, but lots of
Right.
people, they don't pay attention to that. Or if they get a call, because I believe that service leaves a voicemail, so if you don't answer the call, at least they get that information. So,
Right.
and that's what we talked about. We hadn't talked to them. I don't know if that's an option or not, but that's something we can look at.
And at least since they're already used to coming here, if they do make it into the courthouse, at least they don't have far to go. To, you know, they're already at least here. But, yeah, I just wanted to see y'all's opinion on it. It's gonna be crazy because y'all know, the city of Plainview, the school district is having an election. Hill Center is having an election, and Petersburg City and School are having an election. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff on the ballot.
And of course, the presidential
Oh, yeah,
race is always,
obviously, yeah.
it always draws a lot more voters
It's gonna
than
be
the off year.
huge, I think, so it's gonna be crazy. And just since we're talking about polling locations too, I'll bring that at the next meeting, for y'all to approve the polling locations for Election Day. I've got a couple of changes there. I've had at least one tell us no because of COVID, but pretty much everybody's on board, so we're getting those all in place now. So I'll get those to you in a couple of weeks, okay?
All right, and then the next item, Latrice, you might stay up here.
Yep.
It's the order of election. Election day is November 3rd, which is a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so Latrice tells me that I have to sign an order of the election. But I told her I would be willing to do that, but just like anything else I sign, I like to bring to court and let y'all know. And so that's also an agenda item for Monday.
And I've got that with me too, but I'll give it to you now or then. And this is too, just for y'all's information, you know, to put it out there. The cities are required, they have to choose 2 weekdays, let's see, 2 weekdays, 2 12-hour weekdays during that early voting period. So there are gonna be, since we're doing the election, that means 2 of those weekdays, we have to stay open late, all of our early voting locations. So we'll have a couple of days, the 15th and the 22nd. Mario, I tried to call Veronica to see if we could coordinate, but she wasn't there, but I'll talk to her on Monday. Yeah, if we could have all of them coordinate that way, but that'll give people at least a little bit longer, 2 times to vote.
Any questions of Latrice on election or anything? Like I said, if y'all will think about it over the weekend, if you decide another location that may be possible, and let us know. The next item I have is in regards to the CARES Act. I brought this to us back in June, and the court decided that, you know, we are still waiting to hear on 2 different grants that are separate from the CARES Act, but we did have a request, but I've been trying to get a hold of Kelly Davila at SPAG and talk to her about this. I haven't been able to visit with her, and so I really don't want to bring anything about it until I talk to her and see, because on these grants like this, you know how complicated they are anyway. And the problem is, you know, Melinda's office is busy anyway, and so we can't overburden an office just to facilitate a grant. And so I was gonna talk to Kelly and see if SPAG would be interested in maybe assistance. And so, that's what that is, and hopefully I'll visit with her today and have more information for you on Monday. And it's not grand on feral hogs, it's grant on feral hogs. We received information from, I think it's Texas Wildlife, and there were grants available if we're having issues with feral hogs. And so,
Are you see them up in the northeast corner of my place, Floyd?
okay. So I didn't know, you know, what the issue was here, and if this was gonna be something we would be interested in or not, so, but we'll talk about that on Monday. And then, let's see, the change in policy, Ida was able to get with Michelle Arsenault and talk to her about a change in policy. And I know I printed those out, but here we go. It's on the back page of this form I'm passing around. So the front page is some budget information, but if you pass those around. If you look at the back page, of that, on item 5.10, pay groups and step. Now, I may let Ida or Kenny, because they actually visited with Michelle about this. But if you look at that second paragraph, this is where the change occurs. It just says, no additional step increases will be allowed during the budget year. This does not apply to the 6-month or 1-year increase, which is budgeted in the current year's budget, nor does it apply to any promotion within the department. And that's the change she made. And so, Ida, do you have anything to add?
The only thing I want to add, because, this was brought up a few years ago, and it got changed where I felt like the wording was there, but, is that she recommended, and Kenny was there too, that we follow the policy. So, do you have anything, Kenny, you want to add to that?
Well, she did recommend that we follow the policy. And the only thing is on this policy that she did state that we don't have to fund it in the following budget year. So if these step raises are given, it doesn't mean that we would necessarily fund it the next year. So it could create some problem. It would probably be in someone's best interest not to do it.
Okay. Well, and we'll talk about that here at budget session, because I really didn't word it in the agenda to address that. I think what we need to probably do is decide if we want to change the policy, because things that have occurred are within the policy, the current policy.
Yes.
And so I'm not saying anybody or any group has violated any policy. We just need to see if we want to address the policy as it is right
Yes.
now. And so let's follow that step first, and then we'll talk about what's occurred and what we need to do at a later time. So, but anyway, y'all look this over over the weekend. Like I said, this is what she's recommended. If anyone has something they want to add, delete, whatever, then we'd be happy to run it by Michelle for helping us. So, but anyway, that's y'all's copy of that. Okay, Jim's on the agenda for the 2 items he had. The sheriff has a personnel item. Kenny's got, he presented about the courthouse parking lot. Jimmy's item, and then we'll make a decision on the cleaning service, if she has a proposal ready for us. And so, anybody have anything they want to add or talk about that's on the agenda for today or Monday? All right, if there's no comments, then I'll call this workshop adjourned at 10:10 a.m. If y'all want to take a break, we'll start our budget. We'll come out of recess and budget at 10:30.